What's up, people? This is Nature Girl 30 here, and this is my 2 cents on WWE Payback, which is coming on Sunday. These are my predictions on how I feel that the matches are going to go out. And honestly, I really didn't think that Payback was going to have a lot of matches, let alone the build on Raw was mediocre. But I will say this: SmackDown did a good job actually building up Payback. It felt like a go home show. But I'm not going to go ahead and rant about that. You've already heard enough of my rants. This is going to be my predictions for Payback that is coming on Sunday. And according to WWE.com, I'm going by what is on their list. Now, I'm going to start off with the Payback match kickoff, Sheamus versus Damien Sandow. Now, it absolutely makes sense for Sheamus to actually win this because Damien Sandow beat the ever-loving crap out of him inside the ring when he kicked that computer in the face. Honestly, I really did like that segment somewhat. Yeah, I like that segment, I'm not gonna lie. But I will say this: it would make sense for the WWE to actually have Sheamus win. But even if Sheamus wins, I am hoping that it's gonna be a really good match. It's not gonna be a squash match. It's gonna be a really good match, and Damien Sandow can fight. So I'm hoping that this is actually a good match. And even if Damien Sandow loses, it won't make him look weak. So my verdict goes to my verdict actually goes to Sheamus, not Damien Sandow. I wish. But moving on to a championship match that I honestly did not think would actually make Payback. But it's kind of good to actually see the Divas doing something on a pay-per-view because lately it really hasn't been anything going on. But this is actually the Divas Championship title up for grabs with Kaitlyn versus AJ Lee. Now, their feud has been building up for a very long time. It was built up a long time ago, but then somehow they kind of postponed it and then turned AJ's attention somewhere else. But now that Kaitlyn is actually the champion, the fact that Kaitlyn was kind of tricked by AJ and kind of made a fool of on SmackDown, actually was on Raw, either or, it was on one of those shows. It makes perfect sense for Kaitlyn to actually want to get some kind of payback, no pun intended, from AJ Lee. But, and this is coming from Mr. Griffith's video, so it's somewhat of a response to his video. He believes that it will make sense and it would be better for AJ Lee to actually take the Divas Championship belt. In a way, yeah, because she's a heel, and you really do want a good heel to take the belt. Because if a good heel takes the belt, you will be rooting for the good guy to take the belt away from her. In that sense, yes, I highly agree. But when it comes to the standards of the Divas Championship belt, I will say this: Kaitlyn is actually upholding it better. She looks like a Divas Champion. I cannot say that AJ Lee looks like a Divas Champion. Example and point: Stephanie McMahon during the McMahon-Helmsley era, when somehow she had so much help getting her the women's title, and she absolutely held the women's title for Lord knows how long until it was taken from her. And did she give that belt any justice? No. She was a good heel holding it, but it just seemed like it took forever for her to lose that belt. It had to be close to when the McMahon-Helmsley era was about to die off. And the biggest thing with AJ is that she's not going to really give anything to that belt. It's going to be, in my opinion, a very mediocre title reign. She's just going to be holding that belt like a prop. And I don't think she's going to give it any justice. It's sad enough it's the Divas Championship alone, and everyone knows how much I can't stand that belt. AKA, and coming from Spaz Phoenix, quoted by him, the tramp stamp belt. I still feel that Kaitlyn is the better champion. But in terms of making sense, AJ Lee for the win over Kaitlyn. Just because it makes sense in her being a heel and that whole equation, I'm just throwing her in there. Now, moving on to the U.S. Championship match, which makes me really happy, and I really hope that this is actually going to be a match of the night. But it is, in my opinion, because it's freaking Dean Ambrose. The U.S. Championship match up for grabs with the U.S. Champion Dean Ambrose versus Kane. Honestly, I love Kane. I loved Kane. But now they made Kane a complete wuss. I'm hoping he brings out the monster when he faces Dean Ambrose. Because I will say this, Dean Ambrose is vicious. He even has the whole character down. I love everything about the Shield right now. And I love Dean Ambrose because Dean Ambrose is great on the mic. He actually looks and acts crazy. And he's probably the best heel champion that U.S. belt has ever had. So I'm hoping Dean Ambrose holds on to the belt and the Shield maintains that power. Because I really don't see Kane winning. I actually see that Dean Ambrose is going to retain the championship if Kane loses. I can't really see him winning. So honestly, my and this is not going to be a biased vote. This is actually going because the Shield really does need to maintain power. So my vote goes towards Dean Ambrose for the win. The IC Championship match: Wade Barrett versus The Miz versus Curtis Axel in place of Fandango. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Fandango makes an appearance and somehow, and I'm hoping that The Miz does not win this because it's going to be a downgrade for him. He needs to go higher than that. He does not need to go to the IC Championship belt. I hate to say it, even though Wade Barrett is kind of stuck in the mid-card right now, the IC Championship looks better on Wade Barrett than it would The Miz, and definitely not on Curtis Axel. Because Curtis Axel is like way down below. He needs to work his way up before he can ever get a belt like that. But honestly, my vote goes to go towards Wade Barrett because Wade Barrett, he's actually better as an IC champion. I'm just hoping that he will actually go beyond that because right now I just don't really see it. And if he loses that belt, who knows what they'll do to him. But let's move on to probably the main event of the night. The tag team champions Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. Now, when we actually watched this last SmackDown, we saw that Daniel Bryan practically decimated the Shield all by himself. So honestly, we are expecting two things. Number one, Daniel Bryan coming out for the win, showing that he is truly not the weakest link. And number two, Randy Orton is going to turn on him, and he's going to beat the crap out of him and walk out the ring, leaving him by himself, and them losing the tag team champions that way. Hence, Payback. Since Daniel Bryan was too busy fussing at him and kind of berating him in front of millions and millions of people watching him, and knowing that even though Randy Orton is a face, we know he has heel tendencies. It's a possibility that he'll either hit him by accident or just get so fed up he'll leave. I don't see these two winning because I don't see Randy Orton wanting to tag with anybody. So I'm thinking that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are going to retain their titles. That is my vote right there. Moving on to the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to actually go to all the championship matches, and I'm going to go to the standalone of the night. The two standalones of the night. Actually, the one standalone of the night. Let's go into the World Heavyweight Championship match with Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio. Now, since we really haven't seen anything from Jack Swagger, I would not be surprised if Jack Swagger actually makes an appearance and somehow screws over Alberto Del Rio to have him lose the belt. I can't see Alberto Del Rio getting the belt back. Alberto Del Rio was better as a heel champion than he is as a face champion. As much as I don't want Dolph Ziggler to actually keep the belt, he's going to keep it somehow, some way. Jack Swagger may interfere, and somehow Dolph Ziggler is going to maintain the belt. I don't see Alberto Del Rio winning at all. He is well put over, but he's only put over by Ricardo Rodriguez. Without him, he really wouldn't be put over at all. But honestly, I just don't see Alberto Del Rio winning. There's really no reason for him to win. There was a reason for him to beat Jack Swagger, but there's really no reason for him to win now. So my vote goes to Dolph Ziggler for the win. Now, the supposed main event of the night, but actually I don't really consider this the main event of the night. And looking at other people's videos, they make a valid point. But let's get into this. WWE Championship match up for WWE Championship up for grabs with John Cena versus Ryback in a 3 stages of hell match. Now, the first stage, a lumberjack match. Now, Mr. Griffin really did kind of hit home with this because does anybody really remember a legendary lumberjack match? No. This lumberjack match is going to be mediocre as mediocre can be. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to create so much chaos in the ring. We're going to absolutely forget about the challengers. And then we're going to move on to whatever. This is stage 2, a tables match. Which in a way, and I am quoting him because he made a really good point in his last video. And I'm like I said, I'm putting it in the description box. It's a cheap win. A tables match is a cheap win. And of course, Ryback is going to decimate John Cena in a tables match because Ryback put Kofi Kingston through a table not once, not twice, but 3 freaking times. He's going to win that match. Then moving on to an ambulance match. Now, honestly, let's be real. Do you really believe that Ryback is going to take the belt away from John Cena? No freaking way. I wish he would, because I want John Cena to go heel, or at least be frustrated enough to go heel naturally. But I doubt he's going to do that, and let's just say that Ryback is not going to win this time. They're going to put on one good match. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a really good match to watch, but unfortunately, Ryback is not going to take the belt, and I really hope he will, but I'm doubting it. John Cena for the win. Now, for the standalone match of the night, the match of all matches that people have been looking for, because there's only one guy that people are looking forward to seeing in Chicago, because it reminds you of the Summer of Punk. It reminds you of that legendary moment between John Cena and this guy I've already said it, but John Cena and this guy at the Money in the Bank in Chicago. Chris Jericho versus CM Punk, my two favorite people. I love CM Punk during the Summer of Punk. He was definitely the voice of the voiceless. The guy didn't care about nothing. He kicked down that fourth wall, stopped a mud hole in it, and walked it dry. That was one thing I loved about him. But let's face it, they kept changing his character. They kept making him heel, and it made him heel in an unnatural way, and he just became whatever. But now he's against Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho, every match he's been in with anybody, except Fandango's, because Fandango can't follow his own 2 feet. But Chris Jericho, when he's in a match with a legend, a match with someone who is a very seasoned veteran, he can put on the best of the best match. This is going to be, and I mind you, and I'm hoping that I'm right, and I know that I'm right, this is going to be the main event of the night. I am telling you, I actually want CM Punk to win. I love Chris Jericho. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you saying? I'm saying this because of this. CM Punk needs to be the best in the world. He needs to be the best in the world. Chris Jericho has been there, done that, got the t-shirt again, and he's done. He doesn't need to get it anymore. He's finished. But he's still good. He doesn't have anything to prove. CM Punk has a lot to prove. It would make more sense for him to win this match than Chris Jericho ever winning this match. So honestly, my vote goes towards CM Punk, and this is going to be the main event of the night, I mind you. Okay, guys, those are my predictions for Payback. I am going to put Mr. Griffin's video of 5 reasons why John Cena versus Ryback sucks in the description box below. Tongue-tied. Check out his video. It is awesome, and I could not stop laughing. But either or, guys, you will be hearing my review at the end of Payback on Sunday. This is Nate Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.